Hello there, everybody. It's me, Rami, here with another Photoshop uh, tutorial kind of deal. And today I'm going to be talking about smart objects and folders, um, like grouping stuff. So let's. These things are, in my opinion, very useful for keeping things organized and also keeping things not destructive. And what I mean by destructive is like making something final and then not being able to change that later. Um, and how we can fix this is with smart objects, but I'll get to that later. I want to talk about folders first because it's really easy. They're just simple to understand and I use them a lot. So we're going to be taking this picture, um, and for this picture, it's a composite of like 5 pictures. We have, let's see, we have the background, which is this. We have the foreground, which is this. And we have all the different papers, like ball papers that are these. And as you can see here, I grouped all the papers together just for organization's sake, so it's not like I have to scroll through every single thing to get one. I can just have all the papers in one and I can turn them all off and on at the same time. I can apply a filter or apply like an adjustment to the whole group as opposed to each one individually, which makes things quick and easier. You can do a lot of things with folders, mostly just for organization's sake. Now back to smart objects. I'm sure y'all have seen smart objects and I'm sure y'all probably just ignore them because they're kind of just like, what do you do with them? So once you learn how to work with them, they become so immensely useful. So essentially what a smart object is, it's a Photoshop file within a Photoshop file. So as you can see, this is a foreground, like right here. Let's just single that out. This is the foreground. And while I can have the picture here and erase with the rest of this Photoshop file, but then that I can't really change that later unless I go back and do something. So what you can do is create a smart object, and what it happens if you double click in it, it becomes its own separate isolated Photoshop file where you can edit and do whatever you want with it first, and then when you save it, it goes and changes it within the first Photoshop file. And I use this all the time, especially with these composite photos where you're putting a whole bunch of different photos into one with like smaller parts. So each of these paper balls are their own smart objects. So then I can edit them individually and I can make changes for each one individually as opposed to changing them all on the first Photoshop file where I might screw something up. So that's basically what a smart object is. So let's say I wanted to change this paper ball right here. I would find that paper ball, which is the front one. I would double click it to open it. And then here I can change whatever. So I can, as you can see, I made a layer mask. I can like cut it in half if I wanted to. And if I save that, here it'll appear normal like that here. As you can see, there's a cross through it. And I can undo that here, like that, save it, and then it will fix it here. And while it seems like, oh, Rami, you could literally just use this in a layer mask, I mean, that's true. However, for like being able to like single out everything and isolate every single piece, I find it far easier to just make it a smart object, so I can look at everything isolated and then I can make adjustments according once it's in the composite, as opposed to being forced to edit everything within the entire photo, and then maybe I would have to make something not visible and then make it visible again, and then I find it far easier to just make it a smart object, do whatever I changes. And then you can also do a smart object within the smart object. So like if you wanted, here, wait, let me pull up an example. So like for instance, this is the main Photoshop file, and on top of this picture I have an effect, but this picture is its own smart object, And as you can see, this picture is made up of the sunglasses and the text. The sunglasses themselves are actually multiple things, including this background piece, which is its own smart object, which I can edit now. I can do whatever I want here. If I save it, it appears on the normal. And then if I want to make adjustments to the rest of this, it would do that. And then I can come here. That way, it makes things, in my opinion, far more organized. And then I can also I can make changes later as opposed to being forced to make changes now. And then finalize them. Then if I don't like it, I have to undo like 1,000 steps just to go back and change one thing. So smart objects, use them. They're not hard to do. Here, I'll show you how to make one. So actually, when you pull up an image into Photoshop, it automatically is a smart object. If you want to make something into a normal layer as opposed to a smart object, you just right-click, rasterize layer. And if you want to make a smart object, if you want to create a smart object from a layer, you just right-click on the layer, convert to smart object. And then you can make literally as many smart objects within a smart object as you want. As you can see here, I can go even further. Here's a fourth smart object within the smart object. And then I can edit that, which is its own thing in here. And then I can edit that, which is an object in here, which is an object in here. I know it seems confusing, or it may seem confusing, but I don't know. I think it's very useful to making something non-destructive. As I said before, destructive being edit something now and then you come back to it like many edits later and you realize you want to fix it and you can't because it was final and you can't adjust it later. So yeah, smart objects. Use them. They're very cool. They're very useful. They're easy to use. Just for practice, use them on even a layer mask. Even if you're just going to make a normal layer mask, convert it to a smart object first and then use it as then add a layer mask for this one. And then you might realize that it's a little bit easier for organization's sake, because then you don't have to make things invisible or whatever. I don't know. That's just me. Anyways, that's basically it. Once again, we talked briefly about folders. You can make a folder by there's a little folder icon over here. You click that and it creates a group, and then you can just drag things to that group, and then it becomes in the group. That's about it. Yeah. Cool. Happy photoshopping. Good. Have a great, wonderful day. Yep, that's awesome.